Well, I got to give it to Mike Cernovich. He was completely correct when he tweeted about this, for those that aren't familiar. James Harden, star player of, I believe it's the Houston Rockets, was wearing a Blue Lives Matter or thin blue line mask, basically supporting the police. Considering now we're in this Black Lives Matter era, it was widely assumed that it must be a mistake. Or maybe it was a principled stand for something he believed in. Well, Mike Cernovich tweeted something about it being funny when they realize what they just posted and invariably apologize for it because it will prove they don't support the police. I didn't believe it. I mean, I kind of did, but I thought, no, come on, they can't come out after all this and be like, oops. Except they did, and he was right. And here's the story. James Harden wears thin blue line mask and reaction is swift. And they're going with not the overt apology. They're going with I had no idea that I was supporting police. How did we get to this point where you literally can't support the police anymore? I mean, legitimate question. I remember seeing all the old TV shows about Officer Friendly. The cops would come to the diner and they get free food or whatever. Now you wear a simple mask that says you support the police and they come for you and they come swift. It's not just this one story. I bring you to Google. I Google searched the phrase thin blue line, not James Harden. And what do I get? James Harden, James Harden, James Harden, James Harden, James Harden, James Harden. Wow. Look at all these stories. The Examiner, Stereo Gum, The Blaze, New York Post, SF Gate, Washington Post, Yahoo Sports, For the Win, KPRC Houston, NBC News. Wow. If you wear something for Black Lives Matter, and for the most part, they'll say good, and that's about it. But you wear something supporting the police and they will come for you, man, because you are not allowed to support the police in this country. I'll tell you what. While I believe that police reform is a fine thing to request, I personally support the police. I know that puts me in this weird position, right? Even though I've personally been the victim of, I've been falsely arrested on more than one occasion. I've had bad run-ins with cops. I still recognize the importance of the police department and why we generally support them. Even though we tend to have negative interactions when we get tickets or whatever, I, for the most part, do support the police. And that separates you from the rest of, I guess, mainstream society. Is that where you want to be? Does that represent all of America? I don't know if I could believe that. I think most Americans support the police. I think the polling shows it. So how insane is it that a mainstream high-profile sporting organization is going to be like, oops, we didn't know? So it's fine. You say, hey, we support the police. Just because you say, Blue Lives Matter doesn't mean you don't think Black Lives Matter. Isn't that the argument they use? They say Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that all lives don't matter. Okay, well then Blue Lives Matter doesn't mean that Black lives don't matter. They can both exist. I think Black Lives Matter is a fine thing to say. I agree. 100% they do. You're right. Let me know where you need help to fight for justice, and I will be there fighting for justice, just as long as you aren't violently attacking people and trying to impose Marxism or some other weird thing. And if you think Blue Lives Matter and you want to make sure there's support for the police, I got you. I completely agree. And if you want to come out and say all lives matter, I'll say, I hear you. Here. All lives do matter. Why do each and every one of these things have to be viewed as a negative to everybody else? I understand the overt organization of Black Lives Matter and how they what they do with their money. No, but I get it. When it comes to general phrase, I got no problem saying Black Lives Matter. I agree with it. Like the general concept. Now, you want to talk about the organization, we got a whole other story going on. And if you want to come out and say Blue Lives Matter, yeah, absolutely. We definitely need cops. We need them to feel safe and secure. And we need to make sure that we hold people accountable no matter who they are, and that includes police. That's why I'm fine with reform. But let's read a little bit of this. They say the Houston Rockets posted a photo to its social media accounts Thursday of star player James Harden wearing a thin blue line mask, and the reaction was swift. Here's the photo. And I talked about it. I was like, so what? Who cares? You can wear a mask. Whatever, man. The thin blue line flag is a sign of support for law enforcement and that has, amid Black Lives Matter protests, come to signal opposition. Wait. Why? Why does Blue Lives Matter have to oppose Black Lives Matter? It doesn't have to. But that's what they will claim. All right, fine, whatever. The phrase can be traced back to an 1854 British battle formation, a thin red line, during the Crimean War, according to the Marshall Project. Matthew Cherry, a black filmmaker, an Academy Award winner, was among those to respond to the team's tweet. Cherry tweeted a gif of Michael Jordan looking perplexed. Is this really news, NBC? I'm talking about it for the cultural reasons, because NBC News talks about it, to be fair, but feel free to criticize me. This is a dumb story. Singer Trey Songz, who is also black, weighed in too, tweeting an image of a raccoon saying, "This certified clown S." I'll say it for everybody who is scared, F out of here. Harden said Friday that he was not trying to make a political statement, and he was unaware of what the mask represented. I felt like it was just something to cover my whole face and my beard, he said, adding that face coverings he has worn previously have not. Harden told reporters that, as he said Thursday, he was in the process of finding a way to show his support for the Black Lives Matter movement, whether it was with his jersey name or by other means. Harden, they keep doing this too. What a world we live in. Harden, who is black, thank you for letting me know the race of every single person you've quoted in this story, NBC News, had earlier Thursday praised protests spurred by the death of George Floyd, calling them amazing. I think the world saw it, Harden told reporters. You know, how so many people could come together so close. Obviously, it was for a tragic reason, but you know, the marching and everything that we're standing for is very powerful. Where did the guy get the mask from? Come on. So did somebody order the thin blue line mask off the internet, show up and be like, here's a mask, James. Why don't you wear this one? Or did James choose it at a store? It's an American flag with a blue line, I guess. I don't know, whatever. Think about how you're supposed to just know what all these symbols mean. Anyway, unlike some other NBA stars, such as LeBron James and Stephen Curry, Harden, the league's scoring leader, has not been notably vocal about political or social justice issues, which leads me to believe the dude probably agreed with Blue Lives Matter and just wasn't saying anything. And now that they've come for him, he's found his out. Oh, I don't know, man. You know, whatever. That's actually, I got to admit, that's the right way to do it, if you were to ask me. Apologizing, not a good way. But if you really want to just skirt any responsibility for standing up for yourself and you want to just keep your head down and drop to your knees without looking like you're dropping to your knees, you just feign ignorance. You got to admit, it's the clean way out, right? Because if he fell down and said, please, I'm so sorry I wore the mask, like that one, remember that one guy who wore the OAN shirt, that coach, and then he apologized? What a loser. He doesn't want to come out looking like a, you know, if you don't want to come out looking like a loser, you don't have to apologize directly. You just say, oh, is that what that means? And, I support the protest. I had no idea. Yeah. And that's it. Wow, I had no idea. Just there you go. Case closed. I guess it works. Rapper Young Thug, a friend of Harden's, tweeted that the NBA player did not know the connotations carried by the thin blue line. Just so you know, James Harden is my brother. By the way, he don't have internet, so he obviously don't know what's right or wrong if he posted something that's against us. Some others on social media seem to see Harden's wearing the mask as a sign of support for the police and posted their gratitude with hashtags like Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. The photo was liked more than 14,000 times on Twitter, where Harden's name was trending Friday morning, and more than 85,000 times on Instagram. Wow. I am impressed. Absolutely, man. That you get all of this news because some dude just wore a mask. Is that it? Yeah. Any of you going to speak up now about Hong Kong? I'll be waiting. NBA halts personalizing of apparel following Free Hong Kong controversy. They shut the whole thing down. The controversy was that you could buy a custom jersey, but they wouldn't let you type Free Hong Kong. And a lot of people wondered what that meant. I'll tell you what it means. It means that there is a strict and specific ideology. You cannot criticize China. Nah, you'll get banned. You'll get shadow banned. You'll get nuked. You can't buy a jersey criticizing China, but you can support Black Lives Matter. Why? It's clear to me that our cultural institutions are being dominated by one ideology over the other. In one ideology, you have people in this country who support law enforcement, support our troops, support the government, support freedom, support the founding fathers, and are critical of the atrocities of China as they load Uyghur Muslims into concentration camps, as they suppress the rights of the citizens of Hong Kong. The other side doesn't seem to care at all. The other side doesn't care. They just don't want you to support your law enforcement. Let me tell you, law enforcement is important for a cohesive, structured society. The fact that the police can literally come and say, that is against the law, we're going to arrest you because we want to protect other people and, protect the rights of people. Sometimes the police do bad, and we can criticize them for this. But to say you can't support the police at all, like they're doing now, is insane. To ban you from saying free Hong Kong is insane. And I'll tell you what we get now. Because they were forced to bend over backwards to allow you to say free Hong Kong, they shut the whole thing down. And there it is. You cannot criticize China, especially the NBA. Why? They want that sweet, sweet yuan, baby. That big old country got 1.4 billion people, and that's cash. That's cash in the bank. So you can't criticize Hong Kong, and you can't support your police. Is that the world we're going to leave for our kids? Apparently so. I probably should have started with this. What a ridiculous time to be alive, man. It's about time we start speaking up about what China is doing. And it's about time we start calling out the people who would tell us we can't support our law enforcement. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in just a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.